Hola, my name is Tania Lopez. I'm a Latina mom and chef from the Bronx, New York.
Hola, and I'm her son, Miguel Xavier Diaz Lopez. I'm a mechanical engineer working with NASA and studying for a PhD at Johns Hopkins University.
We love to share stories about
Latinos getting shit done.
Welcome back to More Than Rice and Beans, a mother-son podcast about food, culture, relationships, and the Latinx community. I'm Tania, a Spanish chef and founder of Coqui the Chef, a New York City-based culinary business that teaches online cooking classes, ships authentic Spanish products, and teaches the importance of cultural foods, family traditions, music, and history.
And I'm her son, Miguel. I'm a PhD student in mechanical engineering, focusing on aerospace engineering at Johns Hopkins University. Our lives are pretty busy, but my mom and I always try to make time to connect over food, talk about culture, Latinx stories, and bring in some cool guests that have some cool stories as well.
We are so happy you're here to join us. We have a real treat for you today because we are joined by Lourdes Gamez, founder and CEO of Confetti Party Place, an event venue in the Bronx that hosts paint and sip parties for kids and adults. Lourdes has over 2 decades of experience as a New York Latinx entrepreneur, and we're so excited to have her here today to chat. Welcome, Lourdes.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Lourdes, can you tell us about your Confetti family of businesses and what inspired you to start a children's entertainment company?
I love children. I was that type of adult that when there would be a gathering, all the adults would be in one room and I would be with children. I would be making them laugh and telling them stories and we would be singing. So it just felt natural for me to become a children's entertainer. And just like that, Loopsy Lou was born. I did magic shows for parties with 5 children, all the way up to hundreds of kids in a block party. And after about 13 years doing entertaining children that way as Loopsy Lou the Clown, I decided to open up a party room and have the children celebrate their birthdays and their communions and any activity, because we do adult activities as well. We have adult celebrations like weddings or even Sweet 16s for teens. So we decided, let's have their parties be at our party room instead of me going from party to party spreading joy. And so that's how Confetti Party Place came around.
Where is Confetti Party Place located?
Yes, Confetti is located at 3190 Westchester Avenue. It's in Pelham Bay in the Bronx. It's right up the block from Pelham Bay Park.
Ah, in the Bronx, people.
Yes, yes.
So what makes Confetti special? Besides that it's in the Bronx.
For me, it's I don't know why I call it a hidden gem, because so many Bronxites know about Confetti, thank God, because of all the good that we do in our community. It's just a great feeling when people come up to you and they say, oh yeah, I had my party at your location, or I celebrated my baby shower and it was just a wonderful experience. I love the fact that when people reach out to me in some way and they have a memory of or with me, that it's always a positive one. And that's really fulfilling.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. You also recently wrote an ebook to help entrepreneurs. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. It's my 10 steps to jumpstarting your business. And it's basically what I did and how I did it in terms of being a mom, working 9 to 5, and then deciding that I didn't want that life anymore. I just wasn't into the corporate lifestyle anymore. Once I had my second child, I felt like they needed me more. This book is great for a mom who's working 9 to 5, and she feels that there's more. And this book helps go and use the departments in your corporate life. And when I say departments, I mean the advertising department, the marketing department, the accounting department. These are all at your disposal. When you're working 9 to 5, you are literally taking all of these departments, learning something from all of them, and then taking that and putting that into your business. So when I was working at the History Channel for 10 years, I made sure to network. I made sure to get to know people in every department, because I knew one day I was going to stay home. I just didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew one day I was going to have a business at home because it just meant a lot to me to stay with my children. So I became very familiar with the PR department, public relations, getting your word out, getting your message out to the masses. I became very familiar with accounting and doing our books every month. So all of these experiences, all of this knowledge that, you think at that moment when you're working in the office, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is, I'm helping the business or whatever. You're thinking about the business that you're working for, not
Yeah.
realizing that all of those experiences and all of that knowledge is what you're going to use for your own business. It's taking the mom who wants to start her business at home, taking her from using all of the knowledge that she's acquiring at her present corporate job and taking it and putting it into her own business.
Well, that's interesting because a lot of us have a job and we always say that's not our job. We weren't hired to do that.
Right.
We constantly say that. And I realized that when I was saying that, or when I hear somebody say it, I was like, there's something not right here. What can we do to not continue saying that? And when I became an entrepreneur, I remember saying, wait a second, that wasn't my job, but yet I learned something from that. And I am now incorporating this into my business.
Absolutely.
It's so funny. Like subconsciously you absorb all this knowledge and all this stuff. And then you're like, wait, I know how to do that. You have an aha moment. I know how to do that. Wait a second. I know how to do that. Yeah. So it happened to me several times.
And it's good. You realized it and then you applied it. You applied whatever knowledge it was that at that moment, you were probably upset that you were doing someone else's job or you were picking up someone else's slack. But now it came in handy.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's like you're changing your perspective to now think, like, I'm actually getting paid to learn, not just to actually work. I'm actually using this company to gain some skills.
That's right.
Which honestly helps a lot for people who don't really like their job. So then it makes it even better because if you don't like the company, it's like, oh, I'm using you.
And then they become your business partner because you think of it that way. It's like, well, wait a minute. So if I continue using you, but you're paying me to use you, eventually you're going to help fund my project.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
You grew up in New York. What was it like being raised by a Latinx family in New York?
I'll tell you that for me, it was a little difficult because I'm of Cuban descent, both father and mother. And in the Bronx at that time, in the 70s, there weren't many Cubans. There was probably a handful. Everybody was either in Florida or New Jersey. So I used to say, oh, I'm Puerto Rican when people would ask me, what are you? I'm Puerto Rican because I wanted to fit in. Every time I said Cuban, the first thing, I remember in fourth grade, the first thing a kid would tell me, oh, you're a communist. I didn't even know what a communist was. I'm like, what communist?
They definitely didn't know either.
And they didn't know either. But, you hear that term and it's like, oh my gosh, what is that? How bad is that? So I thought, you know what? I look Hispanic. I look like a Latina. I'm just going to say I'm Puerto Rican. And it just took care of that whole situation with the communist thing. And, but what I loved growing up and the different scents, because you can smell the sofrito cooking, you can smell a good pernil cooking when you walk into a building. Yeah. I lived in a building, and whenever I opened the door, I knew the main entrance of the building. I knew someone in the fourth floor was probably making pernil and arroz con gandules. So yummy. Those memories are amazing, and you appreciate that as a Latina because I don't know. I mean, I guess now it's just different, but growing up back then, I was mostly in an Irish, Italian, and Black community. So I always wondered, do they eat arroz con gandules and pernil? I know Irish people eat corned beef and cabbage on St. Patrick's Day, but do they understand how good a pernil is?
So did you feel like you had a community that supported you? And especially when you started your business, I guess, did you feel like you had a community within the Latinx community in New York?
I would definitely say yes. And here's why. When I decided to open up shop as Loopsy Lou the Clown, I noticed that because I was able to mesh my business savvy with the now newly acquired clown entertainment, my business just skyrocketed. I was advertising, which a lot of clowns don't realize that, you in order to get the word out, you have to advertise. How will people know that you exist if you don't make noise, if you don't advertise, if you don't get your message across out there? And so I would advertise in places where my ideal customer was. My phone would just stop. It would be nonstop ringing. And I just
Right.
had to leave the History Channel like within a few months. It was too overwhelming. But that I would say was how my community supported me. By me putting myself out there, letting them
Mm-hmm.
know I exist, they immediately started hiring me and they wanted my services, plus the referrals, the word of mouth. That right there was another win-win for me.
Okay, Loopsy Loop.
That was actually a name given to me in fourth grade. My
Oh,
friend, he used to call me Loopsy. My nickname is Lulu, but he didn't like Lulu. He liked Loopsy. And he got the whole class calling me Loopsy. When it was time to think of a clown name, the first thing I thought of was Freckles because yo soy pecosa. I'm a freckle face. I said, oh my gosh, Loopsy. Then I thought of the song, Here We Go, Loop de Loo, something like that. And it
yes,
came to
yes,
me,
yes.
Loopsy Loo. And that's how it was born.
So, is this guy now gonna like contact you and say you took the name that I gave you?
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is he's not on social media. He's not on Facebook. He probably
Great.
doesn't even know that I use that name as a clown.
Well, if he hears this podcast, I might change.
Yeah, right?
Oh, have you ever lived away from New York City, actually?
No, never. Born and raised in the Bronx. Yes, I do plan to leave though. Once I retire, once my husband retires, I can't take these snowy days anymore.
I hear you, girl.
Yeah, it's Florida for me. And then I can be with some good old fashioned Cuban cooking.
Ay,
Oh
qué
my
rico.
gosh, ¿verdad? Esa yuca con mojo.
Titarte.
Absolutely.
And so was that always the plan, was to stay in New York City?
Well, I'll tell you, when my daughter was born, we were actually thinking of moving to Florida. We bought a little townhouse there because we thought we want to raise her near the beach. We want to raise her where the weather is nice and warm and bright and sunny all day, every day, except for the rain, obviously. But we figured that would be a better lifestyle than the hustle and bustle of New York. Second grade, she gets accepted into this really good program in the independent schools at Horace Mann. And then she was accepted to Riverdale Country.
Wow, very similar to what Miguel went through for Manhattan College. He went to a summer program. He had people advocate for him.
Yeah, because I got a really good scholarship to go to Manhattan College, partially because of the summer.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. What summer program was that?
It was an engineering summer program that was held by one of the civil engineering professors at Manhattan College.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a professional development thing where we
Yeah.
just had like engineers from different companies just talking to us about what engineering is like and everything. That was around in high school. And so just getting those connections. And then that's that professor, the civil engineering professor that ran it, he was the one who advocated for me to get the scholarship because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to afford Manhattan College.
How
Manhattan College
amazing.
is very
Yeah,
expensive.
it really does help to go into a summer program and see who you can meet, network,
Yes.
and if you're interested in that college or high school, and you never know. Vamos a hablar de comida.
My
Comida.
favorite subject.
Sí, somos Latinos. We love comida. Okay. I'm sure you know that food is meaningful way our family share heritage and love. So, what is your relationship with traditional foods and what is your favorite meal?
So I'll start with my favorite meal because I just love a good old fashioned bistec con papa frita. Something so
Mm,
simple, but man, when you either grill that steak or I like it pan fried with butter. Oh my gosh. And then the
ay, rico.
seasoning and the caramelized
Rico, rico.
onions. My daughter tries to get me to go vegan or to be vegetarian. And I try. because let me tell you, there's been weeks where I've done it. I've even been a raw vegan for 10 days. But then I smell that steak and I'm done.
You got to give in.
Yeah, I give in. And it's just so, I mean, steak was meant to be eaten. I'm sorry. I mean, I feel bad for cows and everything.
Yeah, I know. Miguel's like, I never got French fries with my bistec cebollado.
Oh, no. Oh,
No.
Miguel, you got to try it. You have to. Oh.
And then do that for you.
And then when the salsita of the bistec gets on the fries, oh, when the fries soak
I
up,
see.
that's
Rico.
it's so good.
So, what's a meal you would like to learn how to make?
What's a meal that I would like to learn? I would love to learn. My favorite meals are, I love paellas. I love anything I love like the Mediterranean type of, like how they cook their fish. I remember going to Croatia and seeing these beautiful grilled fish. I try grilling fish and it always gets stuck to the grill. It's just a nightmare. I can never do that. But a good paella, my husband does paella. When we first got married, he used to,
Well, you know what paella means, right?
Pa mí.
Right? That's right, girl. So he's cooking for you.
Right? Which I saw that you're doing. Don't you do paella classes?
Yeah. Online cooking classes. Hopefully we'll have them in person soon.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun to do. I would love to take that class.
We're actually in the works of talking to some flamenco dancers and guitarists to have them part of the in-person class.
Oh my gosh, I would love to host that. Like, if you decide to do that, I would love to host one at Confetti.
Oh, yeah. That would be great to finally... We have it in the city. In 43rd Street by Grand Central. I would love to bring this to the Bronx too, because I feel everything is happening in other states or other parts of the city, but very little happens in the Bronx. And I feel the Bronx is starving for entertainment, starving for fun.
Yes.
And I'm seeing a lot of the people that used to work with me are doing so many great things, and not a lot of people know about it, like the Bronx Beer Hall, like Bronx Native. I have to invite them. I had to invite them for the podcast and let people know, hey, we're doing cool things in the Bronx. Come by and visit us.
Now that I forgot the name of that restaurant, the chocolate restaurant from San Juan that they're in the Bronx now.
Oh my gosh, Choco Bar. Yeah, Cortez.
Yeah, Choco Bar. Yeah,
I've already been there twice. It's so good.
I haven't gone to the Bronx location yet, but in January I was in Puerto Rico and San Juan, and I fell in love with the place. So I really want to check out the Bronx location now because it was so good in San Juan.
Have you tried the Choco Latte?
Yeah.
That was just like, and you swear, like, it tastes like coffee, but then you feel I mean, I guess that's what a mocha is. I don't know what's the difference. Well, I guess
it's even way better than mocha.
It is.
It's so good. I think it's just because their chocolate is really good.
Their chocolate is so good. Yeah. Their hot chocolate. I mean, just as simple. I remember. That's another one that I remember. My mom would make us. She would take la barra de Cortés, like one bar, put it inside the pot, and then stir it with the milk. Oh my gosh, I remember that as a kid, and I remember buying that for my kids when they were little because I wanted to give them that experience of that tasty chocolate.
Any advice for Latinx women who are starting their own business?
Yes. If you're Latinx, take advantage of your bilingual. Well, first of all, if you are bilingual, because if you are bilingual, take advantage of the fact that you have two audiences, and the same thing that you do for your English speaking audience, you can do the same for your Spanish speaking audience, and it's double the return. I have my customers, always make sure I put in all of my advertising, I put se habla español, because I get so many parents, non-English speaking parents, who will contact me, and they want clowns, they want face painters, they want a party room, and sometimes they're afraid to reach out because they figure that the person on the other end who picks up doesn't speak their language, and they're not going to be able to communicate their needs. Definitely use your Spanish, your bilingual skills. Be patient and enjoy the process. Enjoy what you're doing as you're going along. Pick up little tips and tricks here and there. because then when it's your moment, it's going to hit you and you have to be ready.
I agree. Thank you so much for joining us on More Than Rice and Beans. Where can our listeners find you online?
Online, I can be found at Confetti Party Place. That's our handle for both Instagram and Facebook. And our website is confettipartyplace.com.
Can you spell out confetti for me,
Absolutely.
just in case?
CONFETTI.
Thanks for joining us this week on More Than Rice and Beans. If you'd like to learn more about us, check out our back catalog from season 1 episodes. And to hear what else we have in store this season, make sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen.
If you really enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review. It will really helps more people find this podcast. And if you're interested in learning how to cook traditional Spanish and Puerto Rican dishes, sign up for our virtual experience, hopefully soon in person, with us at coquithechef.com. That's COQUI thechef.com. Browse our available experiences.
We will see you here next time on More Than Rice and Beans.
Goodbye. Lourdes, say goodbye. Miguel, say goodbye. Lepa, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Stop commanding people to say goodbye.